Hey guys, what's going on? Yes, we're back, 101, and we're here to talk about Mikel Arteta and see if we can kind of break down where the team is going from here. It's going to be a long road to Christmas and the New Year. And as I said at the end of the stream yesterday, we've got to be there to support the team. We are hurting right now. The fan base, I woke up this morning and I looked at social media. I went on to see what my fellow YouTubers doing. One of them is sitting right next to me here. Neomis, what's going on, bro?
I'm not great when it comes to Arsenal. I am not great right now. After the stream yesterday, I thought I was done in terms of comments, and I had more to say, and I just had to let it out. But it's really frustrating as an Arsenal fan right now. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, the reason why I wanted to come on today was to just kind of paint over the direction of where the club is going. And also, Tony wasn't part of the stream yesterday. Yep. So Tony wants to give his 2 cents. What's going on, Tony?
What's up, Tony?
Yeah, he's not connected at the moment. We can't hear you at the moment, Tony. Yeah, we can't hear. Are you on mute? No, you're not on mute. We just can't hear you at the moment.
Here we go.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just want to get our 2 cents from Tony, and also you fans as well. We want to find out how you guys are doing 24 hours after the result, and it's we are, guys. We're in 15th place, and we're now looking at a relegation battle, and I'm afraid it is a relegation battle. It doesn't mean, as I said last week, it doesn't mean we are getting relegated. We're getting relegated. Nobody said we're getting relegated. This team is far too good for that, although nobody's good enough. Yeah?
That's good, then.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, nobody is good enough to get relegated, but before I go to Tony, actually, no, let's go to Tony now. How you doing, Tony, man? Talk to me. What's going on, bro?
Listen, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I couldn't even watch the second half yesterday. The writing was all over the wall. Miss, I'm loving Miami Dolphins top because they're the only saving grace for me.
Gotta be all the time. I think I swapped. The Dolphins will be my first team, and Arsenal should be my second. They're doing me good right now.
Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about the skins because when it comes to Sunday, there's one thing you can guarantee, and that is Apollo watching the skins game.
The Skins look like they're going to waltz. They're going to waltz into a division title without winning another game.
I'm just trying to get this thing here so I can see. ESPN UK are the one that's putting up. I think this is it. They're the one that has done a nice little breakdown for us, and let's see if we can find it so that I can cover off what I just talked. So Tony, so talk to me, Tony, man. What's going on, bro?
Wow. So what's your question? I mean,
we're just gonna talk about it. But before we do, say hi to the guys. What's going on, Cool K?
Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
Yep. That'll be enough to talk to everybody and see what's going on. Cool K, what's going on, bro? It's good for you to stand by us through thick and thin, even though the fan base is melting right now. He says we have 2 league goals in the last 7 league games. 1 was a penalty. And the manager can't understand why we're putting in so many crosses. Well, it's not the crosses I've got to put. Actually, it is the crosses because 40% of them didn't pass the first man. But there's nobody to get on the end of them. In fact, we had 26 shots, 2 on target, and the 2 that was on target were both headers from Lacazette. So there wasn't a single shot on target.
I'm sorry, but that is really, really bad. That's an awful statistic. What the hell? No, it's hearing statistics like that to just make it even worse.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if anybody didn't think it was bad now, believe me, it's bad. Big shout out to David. David says, get a new manager, and what will happen next? What will happen next, Meg, is the same thing, because you have the same players, and the players are the one that are causing the issues here. The managers made some mistakes, which we're going to talk about today, but overall, the one theme, the one deciding theme, which is recurrent in this situation, is the players. Big shout out to you, Aaron. Aaron says, back to Woolwich. Oh my God. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that, mate. Wholeheartedly appreciate that donation. Thank you very much for that. We're no different to where we were when this whole thing started. It was always a project, and it was always going to be tough for him. And he punched above his weight when he first came in, won a couple of trophies, but the challenge is still there. And where we are, guys, is crazy right now. I've got a comment here from a Facebook user. I don't know who that is, so let's dive into Facebook and find out who that is. Is it? I don't know. I know Daniel's made a comment on there. Daniel's saying, these lot are making my illness jump about. Too much stress. I've had to lock off from the team, from the Wolves game before dead, where we are right now. But I'm not about any of that Arteta out. Yeah, I'm not Arteta out either as well, mate. A couple of fans were sending on messages as well because Bertrand was gone a hot bit after halftime, man. But then Bertrand came back, so he just needed to cool off a little bit. Sentiment saying, bored out, KSE out as well. Look, man. Okay, guys, let's see where we are at the moment. Out of 20 teams, we're in 15th place. We're 17th in goals. We are 18th in the league in shots on target. And we're worst in the league in chances created. And all of that captures comes with a face of Mesut Ozil. That's what we're looking at. I've got it right here. So let's switch screens right now so that I can shift onto this. Is this right? Is it here? Yes, it is.
Listen.
Right. So here we are. Let's try and make sense of this. Let's try and blow it up a little bit because I don't know how well you guys can see it. Let's try and see that. Right. So Arsenal are in a relegation battle. Yes, we are. I'm afraid that's the discussion right now. ESPN has tweeted out December would be a huge month for teams at the bottom of the league table. And then there's a popcorn sign here, which you can see, because it's going to be quite exciting. We have Arsenal versus Burnley. Let's push this up so you guys can see where that is. We've got Arsenal versus Burnley, which is next week. Fulham, Brighton. Then Brighton, Sheffield United. And then Brighton versus Arsenal at home. You all know we never beat Brighton last season. They beat us twice, even after the lockdown. Yeah? So we ain't even beaten Brighton yet. And Brighton are a very, very good team. And then Burnley versus Sheffield United. And it's got a capture here of the bottom teams. And we're in 15th. Neomis. That's the reality, my friend. That's the reality.
Looking at that makes my head hurt. No, okay, this is what it is, right? If you're looking at the two games there that we got, Brighton and Burnley, if we're going on form, and if I take my Arsenal glasses off, we're probably only going to get a point out of those, and that's bad.
But remember what I said yesterday, though. Yesterday I said that there's a difference between the Wolves game and the Spurs game in terms of us actually getting shots off. Before, we weren't even doing that. We weren't even like what's been happening the last 2 weeks. And this is for you, Tony, because you missed the podcast yesterday. Me and Bertrand was pretty much saying, look, against Wolves, we had chances. A few of the guys missed. Saka missed a couple of sitters, as well as yesterday. And yesterday, again, Aubameyang had 2 chances. He missed them both. So we're seeing incremental improvements. Slowly, the team are starting to look like they can score. Before, we didn't even look like we were going to score.
See, this is what the problem is, right? A lot of the chances that we're getting are coming from crosses. And like you joked around at the beginning of the show, in that who do we have to really put these crosses away? I know Lacazette had couple that he got on target, but we are not. I don't know why it is, but our attackers are not gelling in a way whereby they're getting attacking movement going.
They're not equipped to do headers. If you had Olivier Giroud in your team, you're equipped for crosses. He is the archetypal striker who takes on headers. You know, he knows where to run. But when you've got two little guys up front, you can't play crosses because every centre back is 6'2" plus.
Yeah.
So there's no chance.
You can play the ball on the ground.
One centre back, he's going to be a salmon. He's going to leap like anything else. So you just ain't getting anything headed wise. Those two guys, you could probably count on both hands that you've got the amount of goals they've scored with their head in their entire careers. They're just not headers. You know, Giroud has got more headers than them guys have got more headed goals
than anybody in Europe, actually.
Connected with their head.
Than anybody in Europe. At the time he signed for Arsenal till now, nobody has had more headed goals than Giroud in Europe.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, listen, if you just need a second, you know, a plan B. You know, look, even Man United went and got Cavani because Cavani gives you something different to your front two strikers. Yeah. And what we've got is a plethora of those same nice nippy front two guys. Yeah. The only one that's a difference is Martinelli.
Mm-hmm.
He's a difference maker because he can actually header a ball. He can leap like a salmon.
Yeah. And he's coming back. And then we also, not next game, but the game after, we'll have Pepe back, and Pepe can shoot from outside the box with deadly accuracy.
You look at Nketiah, you look at Lacazette, you look at Aubameyang, you look at even Balogun. I don't think he's got real aerial prowess. You know, the only one is Martinelli. And you hope.
I agree.
You know, I so really and truly what you need to be doing is thinking to yourself, well, you know, maybe I do go out and get myself someone big up top. You know, that was the archetypal way you built your strikers. You built behind one big guy and you had a couple of other guys around it. You know, look at the way Theo Walcott profited off of Giroud.
Yeah, he did. And not just that, but I mean, I think, look, there's a way you can play the ball into the box. Like when I see Eddie Nketiah make those runs he makes, and it's all on the back line. It's all him just sprinting off the back line. I was listening to Ian Wright today, and Ian Wright said that the problem is twofold. The balls coming into the box, 40% of them are not even clearing the first defender. That's the first problem. So the quality of the balls are bad. The second problem is that you've got nobody running in on them. And I've been talking for what? How long have I been talking now, Neomis, about Aubameyang and his work rate, not working hard enough, and Lacazette, we know he doesn't work. We know he doesn't run into the box. But Eddie tirelessly, Eddie does that. Eddie,
you know what? I think
scored all of his 26 professional goals inside the box.
I would honestly say I think you're giving Lacazette a little bit of disrespect because he does work hard. But his problem is he can only work hard for 60, 70 minutes tops.
That's the problem, yeah. That's the problem, yeah.
So whereas Eddie Nketiah can work hard for 90 minutes, Lacazette can work hard and does show it. You know, look at Thursday. He's collecting the ball from the defenders. He covered a lot of pitch, but he can only do it for 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah. So and a lot of the stuff I see, you know, they always say Arsenal's a second half team. And yesterday, there's one theme. Yesterday, the Leicester game, the Man City loss, even the Liverpool game, we just fall off in the second half with tons of possession. It's almost like teams are sitting back thinking, hey, Arsenal are coming at us now. Let's see what they're going to do. And they don't do anything. So that's where Lacazette drops off. But I'm glad you mentioned Lacazette because he earned a place on that team from Thursday's performance. Xhaka never earned a place on that team because Xhaka played against Wolves and was horrible. He was one of the worst players on the pitch. And to see his name was on the team sheet brought tears to my eyes. I looked at Neomis and I said, I can't believe this shit. That you got to get the team sheet right. I would have played Niles there. At worst, I would have played El Nene.
Worst,
But I would never have played. Could you imagine a counter? Jose Mourinho had set up for the counter attack, and who's the worst player that you know in this league against counter attacks? If I ask any fan from any team to name one player who's the worst at recovering from counter attacks, it would be Xhaka.
Yeah,
and Mourinho couldn't have been happy. He couldn't have been happy enough yesterday because of what happened, because of what went on. So let's talk about where my problem is with Arteta. And I'm not Arteta out. I'm just saying that the man has made mistakes which he's got to learn from. Number one, which is the biggest, Mesut Ozil. You've taken the most creative player in the team and not even put it down there. And I'm not even crucifying you for that because I don't even think it was your decision. In fact, Arteta made the decision to actually play him. And when he played him, he did well. He worked harder than I've seen Ozil work in ages. And he was easily the best player against, hold on a second, it was Everton. He was phenomenal at Everton. He put three passes, two of them clear on Lacazette for on goal, and Lacazette bumbled the ball between his feet both times. Yeah? And that's where you say a man can't get an assist if the striker doesn't do the job. Newcastle, Ozil was phenomenal. He was man of the match. He even scored. He didn't have to score in that game. He was phenomenal. And it equates to the fact that some people say, he don't turn up in the big games. They're not big games right now that we're playing. Yeah? They're not big games. Wolves weren't a big game. Leeds weren't a big game. They're not, Burnley next week ain't a big game. Brighton ain't a big game. Those are the games that you need a man to turn up in. So I'm not going to chastise him 100% for that because a lot of that's got to do with politics on the board, etc. My second thing is Torreira. How are you going to get a man that dominated Spurs last season? Torreira dominated Spurs. He dominated Liverpool. Both games was, in my opinion, some of Emery's best games that he played. And then you go and ship the guy off for a bag of chips and some donuts. Yeah? You shipped him off for a bottle of wine and some fried eggs. Yeah? William Saliba, I promise I wasn't going to talk about him because of those mental issues.
Hang on a second, Apollo. Hang on a second. I can't agree with you what you just said about Torreira.
So I just want to make one thing clear. You said you don't agree that when he dominated Spurs and Liverpool last season, that wasn't. So look, if you don't rate the player, you don't rate him. Yeah. If you don't rate him, you don't rate him.
That's not the point at all.
Right,
I would have him right now over Xhaka any day.
Yeah.
What I'm just saying is, I think when you said that we gave him for a packet of crisps, I think there's more to it than that. I think what we needed to do was we needed to clear the cap in order to bring Partey in.
No.
And you know what I said before we got Partey in? Yeah. I said I would clear the whole lot out.
Yeah.
This was one of them Anthony Davis moves.
Yeah,
where you clean out the whole roster.
Yeah,
I don't care what it takes. You can have them all because I want that guy.
So what you're saying? So what you're saying makes sense.
In getting rid of Guendouzi, who's a great player, and getting rid of Torreira, both players so much more advanced, aggressive than Xhaka, so much more positive than Xhaka, and we got rid of them to get Partey, I believe.
Okay, so here's the problem with that.
I don't think look. If we could have got rid of Xhaka and got Partey, that would have been the one.
Oh, that would have been milk.
Socrates, Mustafi, Kolasinac. If we could have got rid of all of that, great. But we couldn't. Clearly, we couldn't. And we had to therefore give up two decent pieces to get what was a great piece.
I agree, but here's the deal. The two pieces we gave up, 30 million was in Guendouzi, 25 million was in Torreira. and we never got. That's 55 million. That could have bought Aouar, yeah. And we got nothing. We got nothing for them.
And I actually believe that somehow we were still trying to get the Aouar deal. I think we were trying to do Partey and Aouar, and the only way they were seeing it happen was, well, we have to give something up.
Yeah.
But what they gave up was not enough to be able to get Aouar.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, you know what? You gave up 2 big pieces. All you need was Kroenke to come in and say, let me fill in the gap.
And he did.
And he did.
He flew 5 days in and said, right, how much do you guys need for Partey? And he got it done.
Did that bit,
he signed it off, mate. And I told you, like, the Tuesday morning he flew in, I said to all of you, like, guess who's in town? Guess who's come to try and see us over the transfer window? And big shout. That's why I don't understand when people say, oh, the board. The board have given you 220 million since last summer. So don't blame them. Blame the people that are spending the money. Because you spent 100 million on Saliba and Pepe, yeah? And both of them, Saliba ain't started no games this season. Pepe started 2 out of the 11 league games.
Honestly, with the Pepe stuff, it's quite clear that now that the club believe that they've made a mistake. I think it was last week, just before the game, there was a story online saying that Arsenal were willing to loan out Pepe, either a straight loan or a loan with an option to buy. That's already there, especially with was it Raul going a few months ago?
Yeah, Raul.
You know, I would not be surprised. I think Pepe is a good player. I just think that they now understand that they overpaid for the guy, and that he's not worth whatever salary that he's on for Arsenal. So it's a mistake that they then have to try to fix, along with all the other mistakes that they've made. I like with the whole Saliba thing. I think the Saliba thing is just around. I think that the plan was originally to sell Mustafi and Socrates. Because that didn't happen, and because all the Partey, Aouar stuff was all tied into there, I think that's the only reason why we're not seeing Saliba. He'll go out on loan next season. He'll come back, and everything will be fine, because Mustafi and Socrates will either be sold in January or their contracts will all be done. So that will fix itself. But we've got to learn from these mistakes and try not to make too many.
And I'm glad you said that, because if there's one thing that is good within this 101 panel is when we get it wrong and we make mistakes, we fess up to it. Tony, Bertram, yourself, me, anytime we get it wrong, I put my hands up. I got it wrong. Yeah, I called it wrong and my hands are up. With Arsenal, you messed up on Ozil. Time for you to redeem yourself. They messed up on Saliba. Yeah, time for them to redeem themselves. They messed up on the Guendouzi and Torreira deal. Time for them to redeem themselves. There's so many things that they've got wrong. And with the Pepe deal, look, I'm going to say 2 words. Man United and Di Maria. When you get it wrong, if you try and sit through... This is why every week I talk to you guys about Willian from Chelsea. They're starting him because they want to ensure that they are right. So that when he switches on, they'll be... See, I told you he's a quality player. So they are cutting their nose off to spite their face to prove to you that they made the right decision to pay this guy. Because they don't want another Ozil on their hands. They're already struggling with Aubameyang. They're paying him 355. He can't even score right now. So the worst thing that they need is to get Willian wrong. But the trick about it, when Man United... Look, Man United bought all these... They spent 65 million on Fred. Let's not even talk about how much to spend on Pogba. They've made mistakes. The difference is Man United will come out and say, okay, we messed up. Let's move on. And with Arsenal and Pepe, before they admit anything, for me, they need to just play him. You don't pay all that money. No one's producing in your team, and you've started him 2 out of the 11 games. At least make the man play, because he is scoring. Yeah, he's got 4 goals and 3 assists. So he is scoring. But the fact is, you're not playing him where you need to play him. So I'm hoping he comes right back in the team and just let him go, because this is one thing that frustrated me in the summer. When we bought Willian, I thought that means not only are we holding back Pepe, but we're holding back Nelson again. This is the problem. Ceballos coming back, holding back Smith Rowe. All this stuff. These I've seen more out of these young guys than I've seen out of these veterans. There's a reason why Saka is playing every week.
I mean, to be honest, Apollo, I've always thought this within regards to because a lot of the players that we're bringing in are pretty much experienced older players, and I think that the only reason why we're doing that is so that we don't put the pressure on the Nketiahs, the Nelsons, and the Smith Rowes, because I mean, could you imagine if those guys were playing and we were performing how they are right now? Like, mentally, the Arsenal fans would finish them. Like, they would not.
So here's my issue with that, which you guys have heard me talk about. Look around the league. Look at Greenwood, Man United. Look at Brighton. Look at West Brom. Look at Wolves. Who are they playing? Look at Leeds. These guys are playing 19, 20 years. Look at Aston Villa. They're doing it. They don't have a choice.
But see, that's the thing. Somebody upstairs, whether it's the manager or the board, they don't quite trust these young players yet. Saka is a bit of an oddity. Like, he's fine, but until they get to the point where it's like we have no other choice, and until they get that, that's the only time that they will. Like, I think that you can get a balance with the young players and with some of the experienced ones, but I think now too many of these young players are knocking on the door. So it's like, it's time to let them in. Like, Maitland-Niles, I know he's 22. Like, he's been knocking on the door. Like, he should be relatively starting almost every single week. But there's some of them like Nelson that should be regular, coming up off the bench. Willock, for the past couple of years, he's needed that experience to get up to there, but he should be a regular one that should be on the bench quite a lot. So you just have to hope that, and this is the thing with me and Arteta, that he has to see the error in his ways and get over this whole thing about wanting to be right and just do the right thing for the team. Like, I get it, like Bertrand says it all the time, there are lots of deficiencies with our attacking players, and I solemnly agree with that. But you can still do the right things with the pieces that are there to be able to get the best out of the players that we have.
Because the one thing for me is the biggest frustration for me is, and a lot of the guys in the chat panel, they know I've been calling for the young players to play for weeks now. And it's not just because they have no fear and they won't be afraid and they're more dynamic, because they are. Young players have got more energy. They've got more to prove. Yeah. Because they want to perform. They want that spot. That's the reason why we see, guys like Saka that are shining, Martinelli that are shining, because they want that spot. They want to take that veteran out of the team and they want to make it happen. They all saw Saka sign a massive contract in the summer. His worth now is 93 million on the transfer market. They want to be that guy. So they've got more to prove. You're going to get more out of a young guy than you are a veteran. But what it also does is it makes that veteran accountable for his poor performances. That's what it does. And that's what we don't have right now, because you picking these guys, Xhaka, Willian, Bellerin, every week tells that player, oh, it doesn't matter if you fail me, you're on the team sheet next week. So when you go on there, you're on the field and you'll run around and let's win. But you don't really feel it in yourself, because you've been bad. You've played badly. And when you stepped onto the field, my form is so bad, I really suck, but I'm gonna try my hardest today. You ain't trying your hardest, because when I see the final whistle go, you're running off and everything's cool. I want your tongue ain't hanging out your mouth. You ain't bleeding. Yeah, so you ain't give me what I wanted you to give me. And that's the reason why for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I said put the Pitney in. And it's twofold. It's so that you get a reaction out of the young guys, and it's so you punish the guys who are not getting it done for you. The greatest managers, even when Henry went to Barcelona, Guardiola made him sit for 4 games because he wouldn't run for him. The best managers in the world would do that. And this team right here, oh, man.
it can quite easily change. Arteta just needs to swallow his pride and to make those decisions. And I know, was it Bertram joked about it on Thursday night? We should play this team that lost against Spurs on Thursday and play the kids on Sunday. But
that's what I said to you lot, and all of you lot, including you, Tony, said, "Nah, Apollo, you can't do that, man."
No, but it's
that to me is a good shout. That's a good shout. But you know what I want to say, guys? I mean, I just don't think it's as simple as just taking a group of players out of the team and bringing another group of players into the team, because the question really has to be asked: what is Arteta doing? Where is our identity? What is our, what's our blueprint?
Yeah, 6 months ago he said we want to dominate teams. We want to make it uncomfortable to play.
We all saw certain, good things in the first 6 months, and obviously it was heightened by that fantastic FA Cup win, and then the Community Shield. But I'm now actually looking at the Emery era and thinking the exact same thing happened. We had a huge well of great feeling. We went on a 20-game unbeaten run. It came to an end, and we had a shudder at the end. But don't forget, I mean, I was at the Mestalla when we battered Valencia in the semi-final and thought, this is it. We're there. We're going to the promised land. We want to go to Baku. I tried everything and sundry to get to Baku, and it just didn't happen. But I was of the belief that had we won that final, Emery would have become Arsenal folklore. Because I was of the belief that it didn't matter that we had come 8th if we won the Europa. Yeah, I was willing to offset one for another. The failing in that final immediately augmented the bad end to the season and made us realize, hang on a second, whoa, we performed dismally in the final, but not only that, the end of our season was a complete disaster. Now, all you need to do is take that time scale, the great beginning, that little highlight of where you go, this is really where we're going, and then you go, oh, it dropped off. And that's where we're at with Arteta. We've had a huge drop-off. And I struggle to see how he corrects that. Because if you can't create something by way of a system of play which allows you to create chances, because that's ultimately what football is about. I don't care what you do. Yeah, it's great that he's come in and he's solidified the back four. He's got some stallions. And don't forget, as Bertram is saying all the time, he has a better team with Partey and Gabriel.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And now he's got a Pepe who's had a year in the league. So rightfully, we should be saying our expectations are higher and that we should be beating teams and we should be competing with top 6. But we're now saying, well, hang on a second, are we in a relegation fight? This is worse than Emery.
It is.
And it doesn't seem to be anything that shows you that we're on a trajectory to be getting better, because there is none. We're on a downward spiral in a worse way than we have been since 1981-82. The worst start to a season since 1981-82. Kids watching our team today have not seen this. Only you and I. Naomi, so are you old enough to remember 1981-82?
I wasn't even born yet. My dad was like in his early 20s.
I've seen that poor season.
Okay, guys. Before we go on, we got let's bring some of the guys in. Kenji said Martinelli went back, should start every week. Sure enough, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Sentiments are saying, and this is something we've seen from you guys in the chat room for a few weeks now, where you're saying youngsters are just too inconsistent, as the senior players and the fan base expecting too much from them would crumble after pressure. And Style also says, will you accept the inconsistency from a young... Look, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, guys. Let's not talk about the inconsistencies from the young players because we haven't seen that yet. We're projecting it. What we have seen is the inconsistencies with the veteran players. So we can't say the young players ain't good enough when the old players ain't good enough. Does that make sense? I have said it before, but I just want you guys to know where I'm going with this. Yeah. Smith Rowe went to Huddersfield last year. Not only did their fans and the manager say he was their best player, but they said that he was by far on a different level than what they was. When he went away in 2018 on preseason with us, he was our best player. 2019 preseason, Niketa was our best player. He was scoring every single game. Every time you play the guy, he scores. Yeah. And this is my issue. England under 21, Europa League. He's got 4 goals in the Europa League in 6 games. He's broken Alan Shearer's record. But how many games has Niketa started in the Premier League this season? 0. Yeah. When we went away to Liverpool and beat them, he was in the team. When we beat Man City and all that, it was Niketa and Lacazette. He made Lacazette raise his game. You lot don't remember, yeah? Before Lacazette got benched, he didn't score for 18 months away from home. 18 months. Lacazette. That's how long he didn't score. Do you think Nedi Niketa wouldn't get you 1 goal? Yeah, a man who's broken England's under 20 record, a man who cannot stop scoring, and who doesn't. And even when he does miss a few chances. Look, he's 20, he's growing into the game. But here's where I'm pushing back on the young players. Marcus Rashford just turned 22, Trent Alexander 21, Pulisic 21, Greenwood 18, Phil Foden 20, Declan Rice 21, Ferran Torres 20, Mason Mount 21, Dwight McNeil, Burnley 20 years old, Bill Gilmore, he's 19, Stephen Birchwood, he's 22, Tammy Abrahams is 22, Reece James, he's 20, Basaka's 22, Aaron Ramsgate is 22, Curtis Jones is 19, Hudson-Odoi is 19. The fact of the matter is, these guys are playing. You're saying to me, don't put the Pitney in the team because they're not ready yet. How are you going to know? You look across the league, all you see is young players breaking into teams. Why? Because you're giving them a chance to shine. That's all they need. You've given 11 games to these guys and they're not even trying. Yeah, let's be fair. They're not even trying. You're giving them 11 games and every week you're waiting for a reaction. Why don't you put 1 of these guys in, 2 of these guys in, 3 of these guys in and see what happens? Because you can't do anything worse. That's my issue. That's my problem. I know how you guys feel about the younger players. I'm saying to you right now, can you do any worse than what you're doing now? Yeah? And for your answer, I wouldn't berate the younger players. Willock started 2 games for us. I was behind him 100%. After his first game, who was the guy that came on here and said, don't disappoint me by starting him for 1 game. Give him a chance. You've given these guys so many chances. You're playing Willian every week. He's doing nothing for you. Don't bench him. And what did Arteta do? He played him again. He started him for the 2nd week. Big shout out. Thank you very much, Mr. Arteta. Now, let's see you bring in more of the kids because we want to see a reaction. So, unless you guys want to say anything, I'm going to move on now. Arteta, Guendouzi. That wasn't resolved. And I get that wasn't all about you. A lot of that was you wanted Guendouzi to apologize. He said no. Yeah? Guendouzi said, my man was getting Brock up, Bernd Leno, yeah? And I went to defend him. And you're chastising me to defend that player. Now, that might be wrong in Arteta's eyes. But where I come from in the NFL, if your quarterback get brought down and you don't stand up and defend him, you're going to get berated. And I said that at the time when all of this went down. And I think one guy said, no, Apollo, you can't do that. Bro, I'm telling you, if you're an offensive lineman and somebody cheap shots your quarterback and you don't stand up for him, don't expect to have any conversation with your teammates when you go into the locker room. It doesn't work like that. What Guendouzi done was stick up for his boy Bernd Leno, who got bust up by Marpe. Yeah, he took it too far, but the message, why he said he did it, for me, it resonates. And that situation never repaired itself. And not only did it not repeat yourself, but me and Bertram have come back and said, Arteta said, everyone has a clean slate. You lied. Because two minutes later, Guendouzi was sent out on loan and Ozil didn't even make the roster. So how can you say in front of a camera that everything, you're lying. You're lying.
But the thing is, I heard that like they gave Guendouzi almost like an ultimatum to say, hey, listen, we need you to apologize. If you don't, then you might need to find someplace else. And he was the one that said, well, fine, I guess I'll find someplace else. I mean,
that's correct. That's what happened.
See, all he had to do was humble himself. And I mean, the thing is, even if we had Guendouzi, yes, I think he's better than Granit Xhaka. But our problems right now is goals. So I
get that, but you have to remember, Guendouzi was one of the brightest young talents in the league. He was lauded by Klopp, Pep, and all the managers said, boy, where did they find that guy from? He broke into the French team, into the first French team after the under-21s. And the French management in French Football Association, they couldn't believe that they had such a player on their hands. Mikel Arteta, before he came to Arsenal, when he signed and became the manager at the first day, the question was, which player are you most excited to work with? He said, me and Pep have been watching Guendouzi for months, and he is the real deal. And look where he is. I'm gone. Yeah?
We are going to end up selling Guendouzi, Apollo.
I know.
If Guendouzi isn't like, you know what, I want to come back, because I think Arsenal will open arms and say, come back.
He's done. He don't want to play. He don't want to come back here. Why would he want to come back here? He's tried to stick up for a teammate, and we didn't even value him, and he's done. And look, I talked to Tony about this before with Nicholas and Elka. When you're that age, whether you're right or wrong, you got to believe in what you feel is right, whether it's right or wrong. Whether in 5 years or in 10 years time you might think, maybe I made the wrong decision there, and maybe I would have did something different. What's important for you as a young man growing up is you believe that your ethics are right, and you will learn from that if you're wrong. Same thing I tell my children. I say to my children, if that's something that you want to do, I will back you. I personally wouldn't advise you to do that. But if that's something you want to do, I'll let you do it. Because how we get to where we are today is by learning from our mistakes. As a parent, if I don't allow you to make a mistake, then you ain't learning. So if that's what you feel you want to do it. I'll back you. But if you get it wrong, I'm not going to say I told you so, but I'm going to say I want you to learn from it. And when you talk about, the Nicholas Anelka documentary on Netflix is fantastic. I don't know. There's still a lot of Arsenal fans out there that haven't watched it yet, but you really do learn a lot of insights into a man who has grown within himself and was very headstrong. A lot of us were headstrong when we were that age, but we're relating it to football, so it's a different conversation. But you had a guy who was humble because he had learnt from everything that he had grown up in, and he didn't have the arm around his shoulder. He wasn't fully backed by all of his managers. And that equated him to be the person that he was. He could only trust himself. He made decisions that he felt was right. And 100% to him to the power. And I think Guendouzi did that. So whether he's right or wrong, but as I'm saying, I don't think Guendouzi wants to be here. And that moves us on to the next player, which is Maitland-Niles. This guy dominated top teams for you on the back end of last year. You started him every single game. He went out and bust up Man City, took Sterling out the game. He bust up Wolves, took Armand Traore out the game, bust up Liverpool, and you ain't started him for one game this season. Not a single game he has started. And not only that, but you were talking to him about a new contract, and he broke into the England team too. How must you feel now if you're Maitland-Niles? If you're Maitland-Niles right now, how are you feeling? Boss, I did everything you asked me to do. I played my socks off. I put in solid games. I even made the national England team. What more have I got to do to start in this team? Because the guys you got on the field, they're letting you down every week. And you can't even turn to me, a man that never let you down on the back end of last season. I never let you down. So how must he feel right now? Bro, if I was him, I'd be asking for a transfer in January.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure whether Arteta really wanted him in the first place. I think that maybe the board wanted him to sign a new deal so that he didn't end up leaving on a free. Because I think he was another one whose contract would have been running out at the end of this season if he hadn't signed a new deal. So they somehow suckered him into signing a new deal. If he does end up going, it'd be a real shame. I don't get why he's not playing. I mean, that I really don't get it. I have no answer for you there. I really
it's
don't.
Strange, isn't it? Before I go to Tony, it's strange, isn't it? You have one rule for one and one rule for the other, and you still have guys who are just not letting you down. And we know the situation with Balogun. Balogun's like before anything went down, Balogun said, "Bro, I ain't signing a new contract because I'm not even an Arsenal player. You're not even playing me. Yeah, a lot of these kids are breaking through into the first team. You ain't even looking at me. So I'm out. I'm gonna do a Serge Gnabry. I'm gone." What did they do? They started playing him.
You know what's gonna happen if Balogun signs a new deal? They're gonna do exactly what they do at Maitland-Niles. He ain't gonna play nowhere near this Arsenal team. They might even loan him out, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. They are tricking these players into signing deals so that financially they don't screw themselves over. Because trust me, if we had let Maitland-Niles just walk away on a free, I would have been pissed. Same thing with Balogun, because we had the chance to sell him in the summer to Sheffield United for, I believe, 10 mil or something like that. I might be wrong, but we had the chance to sell him and we chose not to. So,
so for them, so that again speaks volumes about collateral. Sometimes teams sign you because of control. Because I've seen all these players go for 50 million, and that Wan-Bissaka went for 50 million. All these youth players are going for 80 million. Hazard went for 140 million. Coutinho went for 130 million. So the more control I have over you, the more my pockets are going to be filled at the back end. And that's what it's really like. It's about control. Tony?
Well, I mean, I can't help but agree with everything you said. I mean, what it makes me think is back to a conversation we had the end of last season, where I was alluding to the fact that a lot of our players are, if they're not at the end of their contract, they're a year away from the end of their contract, or they're at max 2 years away. I could not see Aubameyang performing at Arsenal the way he has performed for any more than another 2 seasons. Yeah. So right now you have to be like bringing in somebody who's going to directly replace him. You can't wait and go, "Oh, he's done, I'm going to bring the next player in." You have to kind of have him here chomping at the bit. And that applies around the whole team. Yeah. The problem is we've got those players chomping at the bit, but not being given the opportunity, as you said. Look, end of last season, we all did a sort of clear out, our own internal clear out. We were like, if it was down to me, I'm getting rid of Socrates, I'm getting rid of Kolasinac, I'm getting rid of Mustafi, I'm giving David Luiz 1 year and no more. And that's just to acclimatize Gabriel. But the future is Saliba. Well, that looks like a bit of a mess now. Then I'm getting rid of Xhaka. We weren't sure about El Neni, and we got to be honest, El Neni's doing a good job, but we weren't sure at the time.
I was sure because I was sure. Yeah.
He wasn't even in our team. He was playing in Turkey. So we were like, you know what? I'd get rid of Xhaka. I'd get rid of El Neni. I'd get rid of this. I'd get rid of, Lacazette was already done. We were like, we're happy to get rid of him.
Yeah.
He's never, ever, ever scored 20 goals for us. For all the money we've paid, we've never got a return on our investment.
Yeah.
So why have we got this guy in our team? So even if we were to say, give him 1 more year, that would be the max to say at the end of this, if it wasn't last summer, it has to be this summer that we say, thank you, Mr. Lacazette. Didn't quite work out, but you got some trophies. Thank you for your service. We now need to have the next hot subject striker. You know, and yeah, as I said, we've got some of those chomping at the bits, your Martinelli, Saka. You know, I cannot understand if you're the manager of the team and you've got players chomping at the bit, how you don't integrate them into the first team that competes in the Premier League in such a way that they feel comfortable to just go, you know what, boss, I can do a job. If he doesn't perform 2 weeks on the spin, I'm there. I don't understand it. How Bellerin is still playing, and you've got a guy who apparently is chomping at the bit to play in his position.
Yeah, exactly. And every time
the minute he doesn't perform, just give the other guy the chance.
Yeah. And I've got to be honest with you, Cedric Soares has put in way better performances every week now. It's been 3 weeks where I've seen him play, and I look at his movement, I look at his passing, I look at his intelligence, I look at the runs he makes, and I'm thinking, this guy's way better than Bellerin. What are we doing? And Bellerin starts every week. He starts every single week. I was going to do a session on Mourinho out coaching Arteta, but I don't even think it's worth us even going into that now. I didn't even think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Spurs beat Manchester City in precisely the same manner as this 2 weeks ago. And part of watching film and identifying tactics and setting your team up equates to how this works. Again, I can use the NFL, but I don't need to because Premiership managers do that. All they do is watch film, and they send the players clips of what they want them to work on, etc. But as a manager, what let me down with Arteta this week was that Spurs beat Manchester City the same way 2 weeks ago, and Arteta's side could have played for another hour, another half an hour of extra time, and still not have scored.
And this is the problem, Apollo. I cannot see an identity in the team that says we will play a certain way, and that methodology of play will ensure that we create opportunities. Unless Pepe creates his own opportunity, ain't nobody laying anything on for him.
Yeah, and that's the difference. You see, Pepe can make his own goals. Very few players in the team can make their own goals, where you just see, you know, I think Lacazette can. Aubameyang, I'm not sure. Aubameyang needs to get into space before he can create his own goals. Aubameyang's not going to do what Henry and Sanchez did. He's not going to spin. He's not going to get the ball out of nowhere, take the ball up by himself, beat two people, and then bang, cut it into the. He ain't going to do that. He has to be running into space. He's got to be set up. And I think a lot of his problems is due to the fact that we've got nobody who can set him up. And the one player, I know everything is regarded to Willian, but it's all about chemistry. Football's about chemistry. People might say, oh, but he's got 6-7 years of Premiership experience. He should know the league. Maybe, but he don't know the players. He
clearly has
no chemistry
interaction that allows you to say he's developing some kind of pattern of play. I mean, you know, look, when we look back at things, we go, right, remember the axis, you know, Vieira and Bergkamp and Henry with Perez on the left and
you don't have to go that far, but I always go back 3 years to 2017. Mesut Ozil would stand in the center line. He would look to his right. He'd see Theo Walcott making that bursting run between the left back and centre back, which he always does, which gives him one-on-one opportunities with the goalkeepers. He's got Alexis Sanchez on his left, who can pull a rabbit out of his hat, and he's got Giroud, who he can hit a 40-yard pass to in space where he can hold up the ball, or he's got Aaron Ramsey, who's running right next to him, who runs late into the box. Who he can give it to Ramsey, and Ozil himself can make a run in knowing Ramsey's going to give it back to him, running behind the centre back. That's where we was 3 years ago. between those players in that season, Sanchez 31 goals, Walcott 19 goals, Giroud 16 goals, Ozil 12 goals, Ramsey 9 goals. That's just those 5 players I mentioned. And look where we are now.
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody gets to 10 goals this season, we'll be lucky, won't we?
and you know,
in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Arsenal fans said Giroud is a donkey. He can't even score. He scores 20 goals. That's not enough. We need 30 goals to win a title, which is true.
They slated him.
Yeah,
like, when we sold Giroud's one of my favorite players. I liked Walcott, but Giroud was my guy. When we sold him, like, for me, even though we knew what Aubameyang was going to bring, like, and now we're missing him.
Yeah. But you didn't know who was going to score. You didn't know where the goals were coming from.
I mean, how do you not rate a guy like Giroud when he scores you all them goals with all, you know, left foot, right foot, scorpion, head. You know what I mean? It's like literally he was the complete striker. We haven't got a complete striker. We have a Martinelli apart. We have not got a complete striker in our team.
Yeah.
And look at the price we paid for.
Kez, where have you been, Kez? Where have you been? Good to see you, my brother. Good to see Alex as well, man. Nice one, Alex. Alex, I was trying to get hold of you earlier on to see if you wanted to come on the show today while we discussed Arteta. Look, we're just talking about a lot of the flaws that this guy has had. For those of you who have come in late, we've discussed Ozil, we've discussed Torreira, we've discussed Saliba as well, we've discussed Guendouzi, we have discussed Maitland-Niles not started a single game. Pepe hasn't started. Well, he started 2 out of the 11 league games. Not dropping Willian, Xhaka failing and continuing to be chosen to play in big games after failing miserably the weeks before. Suarez isn't playing in front of Bellerin. I think that's a problem. Some people might not think it is. Niketa has not started 1 league game. Smith Rowe continues to be mismanaged. I know I did hear something about them talking about tending to his injury because of flare-up issues, so maybe that might be a part of it. However, this was the guy 2 years ago I said he's going to replace Ramsey. Man can't even get on the bench. Man can't even get on the bench. So what we're doing is, this is by no means an Arteta out video. It isn't. I'm fully behind the man. And a lot of people would say what Tony said. Tony said he's doing worse than Emery. A lot of people's going to say that. But Arteta's dealing with the same problems that Emery's dealing with. And if you bring another manager in here, he's going to be dealing with the same problems. Yeah? Unless something drastically happens with the players on the pitch, nothing is going to change.
Just by default, the end of this season sees a lot of that problem go away. Just because those contracts end, the season after again, those, you know, we've got guys who, if they're not ending their contract this summer, it will be the following year, which means they're going into the last year. They can talk to free agents. You know, I'm sure Arsenal would just be like, you know what, we'll just have to get rid of, because we need to be building behind, you know, the stallions that we have in waiting, as opposed to the donkeys who are playing on the pitch week in, week out.
And that's the frustration. Look, I talked to Colin this morning, and Colin knows I'm fully behind the business side. Not a lot of fans are. Fans don't care about the business side. They just care about what happens on the pitch. I'm fully behind the business side.
So they should.
Yeah, and I'm always
worried about the business side. It's their business. Yeah. It's not our business. We pay for a service.
Yes.
Football is a service industry. We pay for a service. We pay top dollar. So we expect top dollar on the pitch. Yeah. That's all it boils down to. If we were paying Burnley turnstile prices, we couldn't moan about Burnley football. But we're paying top dollar in Europe.
Yeah.
So where is the return on investment?
Again, you're not looking, and I'm talking about from the front office level. You've got this plan. You've sat down Arteta. Arteta said, "This is what I want us to achieve in year one. This is what I want us to achieve in year two. Here are the players that I'm looking to get. Edu's with him. Thomas Partey was a player who was identified in December when both of the players took over. So was Owar. So was a few other players. They know who they want, but it takes time to build the team. And we know next summer we have Klasnach, Mustafi, Socrates, Ozil contracts run out. That is 35,690 grand a week in wages that are off the books. And we're not even talking about David Luiz as well. David Luiz only signed a 1-year deal. He'll be gone. So if we look at all of that, you're talking about 40. So you're talking about 44 million saved and about 790 grand a week in salaries. 5 players. So regardless of where you are, you're going to be bringing in a lot of players next summer. And they're kind of waiting to get to that point because COVID, so many restraints, roster restraints as well. Remember what Tony said about getting rid of Torreira. So if we can't get 25 million for him, just get rid of him because we're over the limit. If you don't get someone out, you can't bring someone in. So there's a lot of maths to do with this, and that's the reason why what was done was done. But they're just trying to get to the finishing line next summer because once they're there, that frees up so many resources. They are stretched and handcuffed at the moment as far as resources goes. And next summer is where they're trying to get to. And I know that. The front office knows that. And the agents know that. And look, the players that they're after, some of them have been contacted. Some of the owners have been contacted to say, are we allowed to talk to this player? And blah, blah, blah. And I think that's where they are. They're not going to get rid of a manager who they've got a plan with. And at the moment, the board know that. And as Alex just alluded to what I just said, getting rid of Arteta solves nothing because you're left with the same problem that Emery had and that Wenger had. These players here, guys, are no good. If you look at how Pep transformed the team to win a title, Klopp over the years transformed his team. You have to give Arteta time. One summer and one transfer window ain't going to make it happen. It's not going to work. But in saying that...
This is one of the real fundamental confusing things that I don't understand with Arsenal. Mustafi's contract ends this summer, but you'd rather play him than integrate the £27 million Saliba
or Mari.
Looks like just mustard.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's unfortunate about his mother and that situation, but still, I don't get that.
Well, I mean, Pablo Mari's back now, and I look, I'm all about Pablo Mari right now. For me, if it doesn't work, I want Mari and Gabriel to be the pairing. That's who I want in the middle, and then we can focus on the midfield now. I don't think that there's anything we have to do except for the right back position. Bellerin can go to PSG, he can go wherever he wants. I would drop him now, and I'd put Suarez in there, and I promise you, Suarez will perform. He'll perform. I know he will because he's that type of player. He's a seasoned Premiership player. He's a wily old fox. He's got so much intelligence to his game, and he's a better player in the final third than Bellerin is. And that's saying something because Bellerin's got a bunch of assists this season, and but Bellerin's overall game is just very inconsistent. And a lot of people are blaming him for the Son goal, the first goal. I ain't blaming nobody. Because I was talking to a Spurs fan today, and even I said to them that the brother Song that you got there, man, is world class. It don't matter. He's doing that. He's doing that against world class defenders. Sorry.
You see what Tony Adams wrote about Bellerin?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, he's absolutely right. You're a defender. That's your number one job. If I have the most deadly striker, which Son right now is in the Premier League. Yeah? He's one of the top 3 strikers in the Premier League right now. I ain't going nowhere. because I'm not letting him out of my sight for him to run at Rob Holding. Sorry, boss, you're going to have to find a way to let all that in front of me do what it does. But if I can push Son back, I'll do that. But I'm not letting him behind me, because any ball over my head, I can't catch him.
Yeah.
I'm the fastest player at once upon a time, but that there kid, I can't give him 5 yards.
Yeah.
I cannot give that guy 5 yards. So I don't care what you do on Sunday. Don't let that guy be behind you, because if the ball you're playing or somebody's playing does not reach him, reach you, and he ends up behind you getting a ball looped over the top from the defender, and it's him against Holding, game over. And that's exactly what I saw.
All right, guys.
The ball was lost, and the ball clipped over the the defenders who were piling forward. I was like, game over. Yeah, because the situation where you saw 5 Spurs players attacking 2 defenders.
Yeah.
Somebody, which in my estimation, somebody needed bulletin for that, because I don't care when you've got 2 strikers like Kane and Son, in their backyard.
Yeah.
And you're doing that stupidness.
Yeah, Mourinho used to do that to us when we played Chelsea, didn't he? He sucked us in. He said to them, sit back, let Arsenal push up. The more Arsenal think they got a chance, the more players they're going to commit. Once they overcommit and we win the ball, we need 2 touches to get it past the halfway line, and then we've got a chance. That's what Mourinho is saying to them, and Arteta should have known that. And that is what I said this on live commentary yesterday, and that's where I was the most disappointed, because I've said that Arteta is more of a man than Frank Lampard. And Frank Lampard knew going into play this lot that he has to have a back 4 sit. Yeah? He knew. And that's what he did. And Spurs never caught them once.
Take a 0-0 for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Go into White Hart Lane. Take a 0-0. Whatever you do, sit.
Yeah.
Don't give them nothing.
Guys, you know, that system was central to achieving a greater balance and stability. And that is what I expected Arteta's logical mind to do. And he didn't do that. And what had happened then is, you know, Mourinho was all too happy to give Arsenal the ball. Go on, you take it. Remember what I said to you, Neomis, yesterday? You know, vampire, open the door, come on in, have some milk and cookies, step right on in, be comfortable, put your feet up. Yeah, give Arsenal all the ball and invite them in. Suck them in. And when that ball goes out, boom, you outnumber them on the counter. That was the tactics. That Spurs sat on the edge of their box waiting for Arsenal's attack to break down. All too happy, knowing that they will outnumber them on the back end. It is Jose Mourinho 101. If you ain't been to the Emirates and you ain't seen Chelsea do that to us countless times, then you ain't an Arsenal fan.
This is how they beat us 6-0. That's how they beat us 6-0 every time. That's Mourinho.
And then Bellerin to have 5 foul throws in 11 games. What is that? What is that? I got guys across the park. Forget the guys across the park. Yeah? Tony's son Kieran. They play. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Tony's son Kieran. Yeah? When you're playing in Little League, them man know how to take a throw-in. How are you gonna get their brother on 100 grand a week who don't know how to take a throw-in? 5 times in 11 games. 5 foul throws. That's like, we chastise Xhaka for giving the ball away 5 times a game. That's like giving the ball away. There's no difference. You're losing possession. Football is a game about possession. And you're carrying these things. Wenger carried them. Emery carried them. Ljungberg carried them. They let them guys down. They got them guys sacked. And Arteta, my brother, if you're listening to me, if you're listening to Apollo Dean Campbell, Do not let these guys get you sacked. Bench these guys, move on, bond them, and put in some guys who's going to give you some footballing effort and some footballing aptitude, some brain intelligence. Yeah? Because trust me, if you're playing Suarez, he ain't going to do that. He ain't going to do that. He's not going to do that.
I hear you. He's listening. I hope he's listening.
He's not going to do that. You're carrying all these flaws and deficiencies and wondering why you're not getting a result. That's why I've named 10 things. Ozil, Torreira, Saliba, Guendouzi, Niles, Pepe, Willian, Xhaka, Suarez, Niketa, Smith Rowe. That's just 10 things. That's on you. That's not the player's performance is one thing. This is on you, and that's why we're doing this video today. We're doing this video because while we love your appointment and we back you 100%, and I'm not saying Arteta out. Some of you fools are saying Arteta out in the chat room. I can see you right now. I can read some of these things you lot are putting on there. You man, they're crazy. You man, crazy. I'm not giving up on Arteta because, guys, when we are rid of all this decay and damage that has corrupted and corroded the team for the last 4 years, when we get rid of it and replace it, I believe that we'll be able to compete. But as for now, we're facing some hard times, guys, and we're going to need you to come together as fans and support your team. Oh. So, guys, we're over an hour now, so I've said all I needed to say. Neomis and Tony, I'm going to leave it up to you. Any closing comments from you guys?
For me, no. The only thing I was going to bring up is that I think last season really started to hide everything that's going on in this season, because we kind of saw it. Last season, Aubameyang scoring goals every single week. I remember so many times people joked on, oh, without Aubameyang, where would we be? Well, this season, we're seeing where we would be without Aubameyang's goal. So I just hope Arteta's listening and we could try to turn things around right now. That's it.
Yeah. Tony?
So we're at 1 week into December. We pretty much just have to now see how we get on in the next set of fixtures. There's an opportunity in games for us to turn this around. Let's hope that we see these players who have deserved the opportunity to play, given an opportunity to do so in these games, and change the narrative. Because, look, we cannot stomach these players performing or underperforming like they have been over and over again continuously. We have to see change.
Yeah. And sentiment says Arteta is desperate for the results. So he's saying, Apollo, does logic come into desperation? I think we're past that point, bro. I think we're past that point because his logic hasn't worked. He's done so many things with this team, and look, he's done some amazing, wonderful things with this team. But he's swapped a few bodies out, not enough, in my opinion. We've gone 3 at the back, we've gone 4 at the back, we've gone 3-2 in the midfield, we've got 3 holding midfielders, 2 holding midfielders. We've gone. The only thing we ain't done is gone 2 strikers up front. But even in Europa, we've done that with Niketa and Lacazette, and push Lacazette in a more 4-4-1-1 role. Desperation. I think, I guess he's going to be coming into that. We'll have to see what happens. Against Burnley this weekend, we have to see what happens. We really do. I mean, I would just get rid of the guys who are not doing it for you and send a message, because you're not sending any message right now. Come on, Xhaka. Come on, Bellerin. You guys suit up. Come on, play again. Come on, come on, Willian. Yeah, come on, Lacazette. Come on, everybody. Or everyone who hasn't done it in the Premier League. Come on, let's go and do it again. What are you going to achieve by doing that? You've not had a reaction. Yeah, remember, guys, when Wenger used to lose bad games, what did we used to see? All the time the team came out and had a reaction. There wasn't one issue that we had where we had a string of three, 4 losses. It never happened under Wenger. Never, ever in 22 years. Never happened under Wenger. What was Wenger's longest losing streak? He lost 2 games. That was it. You know, you wouldn't see him go and lose, 3, 4 games, 5 games. You wouldn't see that. Never, ever. He always knew how to bounce back. And part of that is player personnel, the relationship you have with your players. And Wenger was really good like that. He allowed his players to go and express themselves. It cost him. Yeah. It cost him because he never had a plan. But, yeah. Tony, you got to run now, yeah?
Yeah, good.
All right, guys, that's it from us. I hope you guys have caught a little bit of the explanation of where our hearts and minds are. But let's look at what happens this weekend and let's back our team. Yeah, that's all from me. That's all from Tony and Neomis. So we see you guys soon, man. Keep the faith, guys. Keep the faith. Peace out.